Welcome to Fort Mill's 2020 Memorial Day ceremony. We are holding this ceremony virtually this year to ensure that everyone will be able to attend. Memorial Day 2020. This day each year since 1971, Americans observe Memorial Day to honor those that have given their all, their very lives, for our country and our freedom. This Memorial Day, we are unable to gather together at Veterans Park, but our hearts are forever owed to the sacrifice of so many. John F. Kennedy said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. In solemn agreement, and in the presence of the graves of those that gave their life for our freedoms, I offer the words of Joseph Rodman Drake. And they, who for their country die, shall fill an honored grave. For glory lights the soldier's tomb, and beauty weeps the brave. Thank you for joining us today as we remember the men and women who have given us so much. It is our hope that we remember and honor them and their families each and every day. With that, our opening prayer today will be offered by Robert Munn, chaplain of our American Legion Post 43.
Everyone please uncover. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day and this time together that you gave us. We thank you for all the things that we have, the luxuries and all that these men have laid their lives down for. We ask you to honor their families and have peace in their heart. We ask you, Lord, to touch everyone here and let them remember this is a day of remembrance of those who died and fought for this country. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Today we will have the posting of colors. Keith Feely, Commander, American Legion Post 43.
Sergeant at Arms.
Commander.
Post colors.
Honor guard. Hit. Foot. Rifle. Port. Arm. Port. Foot. Detail. Halt. Prepare to post. Halt.
The Pledge of Allegiance will be led today by Representative Ray Felder, South Carolina House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mayor Savage. I would like to ask everyone to join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The national anthem today will be offered by Catherine Bowman, 8th grader from Fort Mill Middle School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
For our Memorial Day message, we're very honored to have Sean Timothy Patrick Mulcahy. Colonel Mulcahy was born on November the 20th in 1956 in Ithaca, New York. He joined the Marine Corps Platoon Leader Class program on 8 September 1975. He has had many years of experience since his commissioning and graduation from the basic school at Quantico, Virginia in 1978. He has held a variety of command and staff positions. He has commanded many units. Colonel Mulcahy's personal decorations include the Legion of Merit with Gold Star, Meritorious Service Medal with 2 Gold Stars, Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal, and Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal. Colonel Mulcahy is married to the former Bridget Kelly of Cleveland, Ohio. Bridget is a retired commander, USNR Nurse Corps. They have 4 sons: Seamus, professional actor; Liam, lieutenant commander of Navy, P-8 pilot, Southwest pilot; Patrick, hotel management, JW Marriott; Brendan, captain, USMC; daughter-in-law Erica, and grandchildren Scarlett and Colin and Declan. Thank you so much for joining us. We are honored by your service and your presence.
Thank you, Mayor Savage. Representative Felder and Chaplain Munn, citizens of Fort Mill and York County, good morning. I am honored and privileged to speak with you this morning on such a revered national holiday. For many of us, Memorial Day is a day off from school and work. We may take advantage of a long weekend with a trip to the beach, or enjoy a barbecue or pool party with family and friends. Traditionally, this day marks the beginning of summer. On Memorial Day, all across the nation, government facilities and installations will fly our national ensign at half-staff from sunrise until noon only, then raise the flag briskly to the top of the staff until sunset in honor of our nation's battle heroes. Memorial Day is an occasion to honor and remember the military men and women who died in the service of their country, especially those who sacrificed their life in battle or as a result of wounds suffered in battle. There is some disagreement as to the origin of Memorial Day. For years, it was known as Decoration Day. Some say that organized women's groups of the South decorated the graves of fallen Confederate soldiers before the end of the Civil War. In 1966, President Johnson officially declared Waterloo, New York as the birthplace of Memorial Day. It's not important who held the first celebration, but what is important is that Memorial Day, a day of remembrance for those who have died in our nation's service, was established. Memorial Day is not about division. Rather, it's about a nation's people coming together to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. As written in Scripture, Book of John, chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Since the beginning of our great nation more than 240 years ago, brave young men and women of these United States who wear the uniform of its military have been demonstrating this greatest love. We have erected numerous monuments across our 50 states to cherish this greatest love, demonstrated in the battles and wars that mark more than 200 years of American victories. The reality of war hasn't changed since the beginning of time. However, society has. Some ask if today's generation, known as the Z or Gen Z, who grew up with Xbox, cell phones, PlayStation, social media, and the personal computer, has what it takes to do what past generations have in order to persevere the freedom and liberty of our citizens. Do they have the honor, courage, and commitment to demonstrate that greatest love, to make the ultimate sacrifice? To answer this question, I want to share with you a story told by General John Kelly, United States Marine Corps, who later served as the United States Secretary of Homeland Security and White House Chief of Staff. It's called The Last 6 Seconds. One can hardly conceive the enormous grief held quietly within General Kelly as he spoke. On November 13th, 2010, General Kelly gave a speech to the Semper Fidelis Society of St. Louis, Missouri. This was 4 days after his son, Lieutenant Robert Kelly, United States Marine Corps, was killed by an IED while on his 3rd combat tour. During his speech, General Kelly spoke about the dedication and valor of our young men and women who step forward each and every day to protect us. During his speech, he never mentioned the loss of his own son. He closed the speech with a moving account of the last 6 seconds in the lives of 2 young Marines who died with rifles blazing to protect their brother Marines. Following is General Kelly's story. I will leave you with a story about the kind of people they are, about the quality of the steel in their backs, about the kind of dedication they bring to our country while they serve in uniform and forever after as veterans. 2 years ago, when I was commander of all U.S. and Iraqi forces, in fact, the 22nd of April, 2008, 2 Marine infantry battalions, 1st Battalion 9th Marines, the Walking Dead, and 2nd Battalion 8th Marines, were switching out in Ramadi. 1 battalion in the closing days of their deployment, going home very soon. The other just starting their 7-month combat tour. 2 Marines, Corporal Jonathan Yale and Lance Corporal Jordan Hayter, 22 and 20 years old respectively, one from each battalion, were assuming the watch together at the entrance gate of an outpost that contained a makeshift barracks housing 50 Marines. The same broken down, ramshackle building was also home to 100 Iraqi police. Also, my men and our allies in the fight against the terrorists in Ramadi, a city until recently the most dangerous city on earth and owned by Al-Qaeda. Yale was a dirt-poor, mixed-race kid from Virginia with a wife and daughter, and a mother and sister who lived with him and whom he supported as well. He did this on a salary of less than $23,000. Hayter, on the other hand, was a middle-class white kid from Long Island. They were from 2 completely different worlds. Had they not joined the Marines, they never would have met each other, or understood that multiple Americas exist simultaneously, depending on one's race, education level, economic status, and where you might have been born. But they were Marines, combat Marines, forged in the same crucible of Marine training, and because of this bond, they were brothers, as close or closer than if they were born of the same woman. The mission orders they received from the sergeant squad leader, I'm sure, went something like this. Okay, you 2 clowns, stand this post and let no personnel or vehicle pass. You clear? I'm also sure Yale and Hayter then rolled their eyes and said in unison something like, yes, Sergeant, with just enough attitude that made the point without saying the words. No kidding, sweetheart. We know what we're doing. Then they relieved 2 other Marines on watch and took up their post at the entry control point of Joint Security Station Nasser in the Sophia section of Ramadi, Al-Anbar, Iraq. A few minutes later, a large blue truck turned down the alleyway, perhaps 60, 70 yards in length, and sped its way through the serpentine of concrete Jersey walls. The truck stopped just short of where the 2 were posted and detonated, killing them both catastrophically. 24 brick masonry houses were damaged or destroyed. A mosque 100 yards away collapsed. The truck's engine came to rest 200 yards away, knocking most of a house down before it stopped. Our explosive experts reckon the blast was made of 2,000 pounds of explosives. 2 died, and because of these 2 young infantrymen, didn't have it in their DNA to run from danger, they saved 150 of their Iraqi and American brothers in arms. When I read the citation report about the incident, a few hours after it happened, I called the regimental commander for details, as something about this struck me as different. Marines dying or being seriously wounded is commonplace in combat. We expect Marines, regardless of rank or military occupational specialty, to stand their ground and do their duty, and even die in the process, if that is what the mission takes. But this just seemed different. The regimental commander had just returned from the site, and he agreed, but reported that there were no American witnesses to the event, just Iraqi police. I figured if there was any chance of finding out what exactly happened, and then to decorate the two Marines to acknowledge their bravery, I'd have to do it as a combat award that requires 2 eyewitnesses. And we figured the bureaucrats back in Washington would never buy Iraqi statements. If it had any chance at all, it had to come under the signature of a general officer. I traveled to Ramadi the next day and spoke individually to a half-dozen Iraqi police, all of whom told the same story. The blue truck turned down into the alley and immediately sped up as it made its way through the Serpentine. They all said, "We knew exactly what was going on as soon as the Marines began firing." The Iraqi police then related that some of them also fired, and then to a man ran for safety just prior to the explosion. All survived. Many were injured, some seriously. One of the Iraqis elaborated, and with tears welling up said, they'd run like any normal man would to save his life. What he didn't know until then, he said, and what he learned that very instant, was that Marines are not normal. Choking past the emotion, he said, "Sir, in the name of God, no sane man would have stood there and done what they did. No sane man. They saved us all." What we didn't know at the time, and only learned a couple of days later after I wrote a summary and submitted both Yale and Hayter for posthumous Navy Crosses, was that one of our security cameras, damaged initially in the blast, recorded some of the suicide attack. It happened exactly as the Iraqis had described it. It took 6 seconds from when the truck entered the alley until it detonated. You can watch the last 6 seconds of their young lives. Putting myself in their heads, I suppose it took about a second for 2 Marines to separately come to the same conclusion about what was going on once the truck came in their view at the far end of the alley. Exactly no time to talk it over or call the sergeant to ask what they should do. Only enough time to take half an instant and think about what the sergeant told them to do just a few minutes before. Let no unauthorized personnel or vehicles pass. The 2 Marines, about 5 seconds left to live. It took maybe another 2 seconds for them to present their weapons, take aim, and open up. By this time, the truck was halfway through the barriers and gaining speed the whole time. Here, the recording shows a number of Iraqi police, some of whom had fired their AKs, now scattering like the normal and rational men they were, some running right past the Marines. They had 3 seconds left to live. For about 2 seconds, the recording shows the Marines' weapons firing nonstop. The truck's windshield exploding into shards of glass as the rounds take it apart and tore into the body of the bomber who is trying to get past them to kill their brothers, American and Iraqi, bedded down in the barracks, totally unaware of the fact that their lives at that moment depended entirely on 2 Marines standing their ground. If they had been aware, they would have known they were safe because 2 Marines stood between them and a crazed suicide bomber. The recording shows the truck careening to a stop immediately in front of the 2 Marines. In all of the instantaneous violence, Yale and Hayter never hesitated. By all reports and by the recording, they never stepped back. They never even stepped to the side. They never even shifted their weight. With their feet spread shoulder width apart, they leaned into danger, firing as fast as they could work their weapons. They had only 1 second left to live. The truck explodes, the camera goes blank. 2 young men go to their God. 6 seconds. Not enough time to think about their families, their country, their flag, or about their lives or their deaths, but more than enough time for 2 very brave young men to do their duty into eternity. That is the kind of people who are on watch all over the world tonight for you. We Marines believe that God gave America the greatest gift he could bestow to a man while he lived on earth: freedom. We also believe he gave us another gift nearly as precious: our soldiers, sailors, airmen, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, Coast Guardsmen and Marines, to safeguard that gift and guarantee no force on this earth can ever steal it away. It has been my distinct honor to have been with you here today. Rest assured, our America, this experiment in democracy, started over 2 centuries ago, will forever remain the land of the free and home of the brave, so long as we never run out of young, tough Americans who are willing to look beyond their own self-interest and comfortable lives and go into the darkest and most dangerous places on earth to hunt down and kill those who would do us harm. Let me say that I believe that America and the world are in good hands with the Z generation. Of the 170 Marine Corps JLTC cadets that Sergeant Major John Logan and I instruct at Nation Ford High School, a good number of them are equally as mature, dependable, respectful, courageous, and patriotic as my generation was at their age. We all can rest well as we sleep tonight, knowing the quality of young men and women guarding and protecting our nation's freedom and liberty. I will leave you with this quote by George William Curtis. "A man's country is not a certain area of land, of mountains, rivers, and woods, but it is a principle, and patriotism is loyalty to that principle." Thank you for allowing me to speak with you this morning. God bless America. God bless the souls of our fallen heroes. God bless the families who are given this grateful nation its most unselfish and courageous warriors. And Semper Fidelis.
Today we have a special presentation of America the Beautiful by Emma Farrell, a senior at Nation Ford High School.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Today we're joined by our beautiful Strawberry Queens, our Teen Queen, Sydney Miller, our Miss Queen, Christina Fergala, and our Mrs. Queen, Amy Kim. They will recite a poem for us today titled "In Flanders Fields" by John McCrae.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row by row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing, fly scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in the Flanders fields.
Take on the quarrel of the foe, as failing hands that we throw. The torch we have be held high. If ye breaks faith, then we will die. Poppies grow in Flanders field.
One of the most important parts of our presentation each and every year and our observation is the laying of the wreath. This is handled every year by the Ladies Auxiliary of our American Legion Post 43. Thank you, ladies, for what you add to our event each and every year. Today we will have our rifle volley and taps played by our honor guard from the American Legion Post 43.
Honor guard, hitch, hut, port, arm, right, face, ready, aim, fire, recover, ready, aim, fire, cover, ready, aim, fire, cover, left, face, present, horns.
Now we will retrieve our colors. The honor guard from the American Legion Post 43 assists us each and every year to ensure that we do everything to honor those that have sacrificed for us. Thank you, American Legion 43.
Sergeant at Arms. Retrieve colors.
Honor guard, hit, hut, rifle, port, arm, port, hard. Detail, halt. Prepare to retrieve. Retrieve. Rifle, port, arm. South, right. Port, hard.
Today has been a wonderful opportunity as we share our observations and our heartfelt thanks to those that have given so much to us. In the words of President Calvin Coolidge's Memorial Day speech in 1923, he called war not the worst of evils. He honored America's fallen and Memorial Day by saying, "We set the day apart to do honor to all those, now gone, who made the cause of America their supreme choice." Coolidge quoted John 15:13, "Greater love hath no man than this, than he lay down his life for his friends." We thank you, veterans, from our hearts, for the life you lived and the death you sacrificed and gave for us all. We also thank the families and honor you today, especially our Gold Star mothers. I also want to thank all the participants in today's ceremony for helping to honor and pay tribute in a different but special way during this time. Thanks to all.